Hello and a very warm welcome to my YouTube today. My name's Chris and we're just taking a quick look at the Havilland Chipmunk, which was it was during World War II that de Havilland set up a facility in Canada to build the Mosquitoes, but later on the factory was tasked with designing a new trainer because the Tiger Moth had been used throughout the Second World War as a trainer, and they needed a new trainer. And this led to the DHC-1 Chipmunk. And we're going to look at a collection of the Chipmunks. It was designed in 1945 and first flew in 1946. And even today, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight keep two Chipmunks operational to grade their pilots on towards flying the Hurricane and Spitfire. And you'll see them perform here. Two Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Chipmunks arriving at Old Warden for a short display. I hope you enjoy this short film, and I've tried to edit together a compilation of all bits and pieces about chipmunks. So sit tight and really sit back and enjoy the film. Coming up shortly, I've also put together or edited together a film made for the air training cadets, for the air cadets back in the 70s, and I hope you'll enjoy the fact that many youngsters, when they were in the air cadets, actually got to fly in Chipmunks, and many went on to become pilots. And I just think this is quite nostalgic, quite interesting, and a little blast from the past.
DHC-1 de Havilland Chipmunk Whiskey Papa 925 was made at Hatfield in 1952 and joined the RAF in January 1953. In 1962 she was transferred to the Leeds University Air Squadron at RAF Dishford. Off for civilian use, she became Golf Bravo X-Ray Hotel Alpha, and after several different owners she is now part of the historic collection of shipping and airlines at Biggin Hill. With the aircraft docked, the walk-around begins with a cockpit check. The hood is opened by twisting the handle and carefully sliding back the canopy all the way, holding onto it. The rear magnetos are checked off and guarded. The front magnetos and the electric starter switch are off. The brake released and set to fully on. The electric switch is set to ground. The throttle has full and free movement. The fuel lever is checked off and on. The flap lever is checked for correct position and locking. Full, free and correct movement of the control column is checked. The elevator is raised, making a visual check of the trimmer possible. The rear storage area is checked for loose articles and overloading. The breakable locking wires on the escape panel levers are unbroken. The top and bottom of the wings are in good condition, as well as the flap adjustment rods connections. The ailerons have full and free movement. The pitot head is uncovered. All inspection zips are closed. With the brakes on, we can check they are set. Also tyre inflation, creep and tread condition. By gently rubbing a finger over the brake pipe, any leak of fluid is easily spotted. The fuel gauge is gently tapped to check its position and then compared with a visual check of the contents itself. There is also a drain plug underneath for fuel contamination check. The tank vents are checked clear and unblocked. The oil cooler vent is clear. Cables and pipes look okay and no excessive oil leaks. The propeller is checked for condition. The spinner screws are checked for security. The plugs look okay. The main instruments are typical of the period. Note that the RPM and altimeter have the same design face. Make sure the charging failure light is uncovered. Hidden underneath the instrument panel is the cut-off lever. The electric starter button is on the right-hand side. The flap lever has two positions in the air. Stage 1 is easy to move. Stage 2 is heavier. Make sure the handle has clicked into the ident. Releasing the flaps on a go-around needs thought, and be prepared for the air load. Hotel Alpha has two carb air positions, unfiltered and alternate filtered air. The forward position for takeoff and landing. The back position for taxiing and cruising.
Sucking in, switches off, brakes on.
Main electric switch to flight. Brakes checked, fully on. Throttle set. Starter motor power switch on. Front magnetos on.
Clear prop.
Once running, switch off the starter motor power switch. Set the brakes to 3 notches on.
Right, John. If you're all set, we'll taxi out.
Yes, sir.
Tell the pilot if you've flown in a Chipmunk before and whether you want him to carry out any particular maneuvers.
Right, John. Before we do anything exciting, we have to fly to our local flying area.
Emergencies in a Chipmunk are rare, but should one arise, correct drills and procedures must be followed. The first is the forced landing. If the engine fails, it's no real problem because the plane will glide and can be landed in a suitable field. But the pilot doesn't always know the nature of the surface, and there may be obstructions like drainage ditches or boggy areas. The emergency drill is designed to ensure that the crew are all right even if the aeroplane should turn over. First, the pilot will give the order.
John, prepare for a forced landing.
Be sure to acknowledge the order.
Right, sir.
Each crew member has an escape hatch in the canopy, and these side panels must be jettisoned before landing. The release handle is positioned beside the left shoulder. When the lever is pulled forward, the side panel can be pushed out. The pilot has his own side panel. Let's see it in practice. The right hand reaches across to the left shoulder. Pull the lever forward and eject the side panel. The pilot will eject his own side panel. Remember, the pilot can't reach your release lever, so you must jettison your own side panel on the instructions of the pilot. Next, tighten the seat harness very securely so that if the aeroplane stops suddenly, you're not thrown forward against the instrument panel. When the pilot gives the order, brace, brace, which will be just before touchdown, put your arms up on the coaming in front of you and cradle your head in them. The pilot will then make the final approach into the field. This may take a little time, so don't be too anxious. And don't start looking around. You must stay in the brace position until the aeroplane has landed. As soon as the aeroplane has come to a halt, release both the seat harness, which is the lower quick release box, and the parachute harness above it, and you're ready to get out. If the canopy is damaged, you get out through the side panel hatch. If it's not damaged, you slide the canopy back. In the roof of the canopy are release handles inside and out. The front handle is for the pilot, and the rear handle is for the passenger. When the handle is operated, it withdraws a latch and you can slide the canopy back on rails. The canopy latch may re-engage when the cockpit is open 9 inches and in the halfway position. So operate the lever again and slide the canopy right back. In practice, the pilot will probably pull the canopy halfway back. You pull the release handle again and slide the canopy right back. Then, all you have to do is climb out and move well clear of the aeroplane. The second emergency drill is to abandon the aircraft in flight. It's an extreme and rare action to take, but the correct procedure must be learnt. An aircraft will only be abandoned in flight if there is something seriously wrong, like a control malfunction or a fire. But for the purpose of demonstration in this film, the aeroplane is flying straight and level. The first order you get from the pilot is...
Check parachute.
Again, don't forget to acknowledge the order.
Checking parachute now, sir.
The check is to make sure that the parachute is still fitted correctly. Next, assist in opening the canopy. In the air, there is a slightly different procedure for opening it. The airflow over it creates lift, which makes it very difficult or impossible to slide along the rails. So a panel is raised on top of the canopy to break the airflow and destroy the lift. Now, operate the canopy release handle as before, and the canopy will slide back quite easily. The top panel is operated by pulling a yellow ball with the right hand. Pull the canopy release handle, and back goes the canopy. Once again, pull the yellow ball with the right hand. With the left hand, pull the canopy release. If necessary, pull the release handle again at the second locking point. The pilot will then give the order, jump, jump. Again, acknowledge the order.
Jump, jump, sir.
Release the safety harness, stand up in the seat, and grab the left shoulder strap with your right hand, close to the quick release box. Dive over the most convenient side of the aeroplane, aiming for the trailing edge of the wing. As we said earlier, emergencies in a Chipmunk are very rare, but the correct safety drills must be followed to ensure maximum safety and protection of the crew and the aeroplane. There are 1 or 2 further points worth knowing.
How are you feeling, John? John? John?
There is a remote possibility of an intercom failure. First, check that the plug is still connected. If you still can't use the microphone, you can speak directly to the pilot quite easily and ease the earphone back to hear him.
Away from your face.
You might feel airsick, especially if you're worried about flying. If you do, warn the pilot immediately you feel unwell, so that he can get you back on the ground and prevent you being ill. If necessary, you can use a sick bag, which is either tucked under your left harness strap or kept in the left stowage of the cockpit. But you're far better off being ill on the ground. It'll make you more resistant next time.
Excuse me, sir. There's an aircraft at 2 o'clock low. Contact. It looks like another Chipmunk.
When you reach the local flying area, you'll be given the opportunity to fly the aeroplane if you wish to. To transfer control of the plane from one person to another, there's a standard procedure that's used worldwide. If the pilot wants you to take control of the aircraft, he'll say,
You have control.
You will make sure your feet and hands are on the controls, clear of the transmitter button on top, and reply,
I have control, sir.
Never say it unless your hands and feet are on the controls. Handle the controls gently. The pilot will help you by telling you what to do and where you're going wrong. When he does, let go of the controls and say,
You have control, sir.
For some cadets, it'll not be their first Chipmunk flight, and they may feel they'd like to experience a few aerobatics. For each new maneuver, the pilot will ask you to follow through. When he says this, put your hands and feet lightly on the controls so that you can feel the movement, but don't try to move the controls yourself. In this way, you can quickly learn the basic control of the aircraft. Finally, don't be afraid to talk to the pilot. Ask him questions. It'll make the flight more interesting for both of you.
Really hope you enjoyed that short film about the Havilland Chipmunk. And as a point of interest, there were over 1,000 chipmunks built between Canada and the United Kingdom. And even today, in 2022, there are 100 flying examples in the UK. And I'm sure you'll get to see one at a local airfield sooner or later. And with a bit of luck, you might be able to enjoy a flight in them. They've certainly been an enduring little aircraft, and anyway, it's good to have you along. Hope you've lasted this far into the film. It'd be great if you could consider subscribing, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next film. Take the greatest of care. All the very best. Cheers.